Feminism, the struggle for the emancipation of women, for equal rights for half of humanity, or gender-based ideology, aggressive, dated, aiming to subjugate the other half. In other words, a polarizing ideology. But out of these views, which one is more correct? And is feminism still relevant in the 21st century? First of all, let's see what we mean when we talk about feminism. In general terms, feminism could be described as the ideology or group of ideologies that aim to achieve equal rights for women. Thus defined, at least in theory, feminism doesn't go against anyone. Instead, it goes in favor of the rights of 50% of humanity. This struggle for the rights of women does not imply a struggle against the rights of men. And that's critical to understand, because human rights are not limited or exclusive. We can illustrate this with an example. When women were fighting to achieve the right to vote, they were not fighting for male suffrage to be abolished. They were fighting for the right to be recognized, as it had been with the case of male suffrage. And this example allows us to understand that feminism doesn't go against men. It only goes against a specific ideology that views women as second class, secondary with regards to men. This ideology can be defined as sexism, and the social and political systems that result from it can be defined as patriarchy. In the past, sexism used to adopt manners that nowadays would cause widespread outrage. And even though today we still see outrageous forms of sexism, but more often than not, sexism goes by with more subtle manners. And perhaps the most common is the denial of its very existence. For instance, when you hear that feminism is no longer necessary because there's gender equality, when you hear talk about false cases of domestic violence, or when you hear talk about feminazism, some kind of feminist equivalent to sexism. Of course, there's bad women out there. Of course, there's people who go over the top. And of course, there's false cases of domestic violence, less than 1% of the total. So the question is whether these are representative. Should we ignore the 99% and pay attention only to the 1% in order to legitimize patriarchy? Often people take the small minority and ignore the wide reality in order to attack feminism. And often women who stand up for feminist causes are called names like violent, aggressive, frustrated, failed, ugly, fat. However, when men do stand up for feminism, they're not called names, they're not treated that bad. You wonder why? Anyway, at this point we better point out a couple of things. First of all, that it was feminist women who struggled, who fought for men to recognize their voting rights. In this day and age, their struggle may actually seem like common sense, but at that time they had to face a sexist, misogynistic common sense, and they also had to face defamation and PR campaigns against them. So, by the same token, as society moves forward, current feminist demands will be taken as common sense by coming generations. And the second point is that male domination, patriarchy, doesn't benefit men. Male domination is a symptom of a sick society, just as racism or the domination of a race over others is a symptom of a sick society, just like class discrimination is a symptom of a sick society. And therefore, we ought to understand that the struggle for equal rights for women, is part and parcel of the global struggle for human rights. In other words, feminism is not only for women, just as the struggle against racism is not only for the oppressed races. These struggles come under our responsibility as humankind. So, the question is this: can anyone feel threatened by the recognition of rights of women? Let's say that again. Can anyone feel threatened by the recognition of the rights of women? Only those who oppose, by principles, equal rights for all humans. And therefore sexism should trigger the same kind of rejection as racism or class-based or religion-based discrimination. And that is gender-blind, universal, absolute, unconditional rejection.